Hello, welcome to Swiss Watch Gang, a channel where you can see watches you never saw before, or at least we hope that's the case. Today I have a watch on the channel from Geneva, which is something I was, having my eyes on the first time I saw it online. I actually saw this watch, I think it was SGX's blog, and also one of my good friends made the photography for them. So it's an honor to have this brand on the channel, and today we're going to talk about Genus Watch. The model we have today is actually the 2020 novelty, and it's the GNS1.2 model. It's also nicknamed TD, which stands for Titanium Damascene, so the Damascus titanium. And let me tell you, it's absolutely gorgeous. Genus Watch was founded in 2019 by no other than Sébastien Billières and Catherine Henry. Sébastien is actually a watchmaker from the get-go. So in '99 he actually graduated from watchmaking school, and the first position he had as a young watchmaker was actually under the wings of Roger Dubuis. Back then, Roger Dubuis was still working at the company, and the team was only around 10 people strong, which means he was, surrounded by greatness since his very start. He was also part of the Opus 5 project with Felix Baumgartner and was helping, Felix with the prototyping of the movements and the watch itself. Because of Sébastien's ingenuity, he was always curious of high complication watches and also how he could, display time in a different way. That's why in 2007 he created his own company, helping high-end horology brands manufacture these, exceptional complications. Sébastien and Genus actually achieved something which not many brands do in their first year of inception. In 2019, they won the GPHG award for mechanical exception, which you can see here on the table. The people of Genus Watches, and Pamela in particular, was very generous enough to also bring me this award, which I never had on the show before. And I can show you guys how this thing actually looks. It's actually much heavier than you think it is. It looks like it's made out of solid gold, which I'm not sure is the case, but it's just something, that each watchmaker dreams about, someday owning himself. Let me show you who the competition was for that year's award. Actually, we have the magazine here from the Grand Prix de l'Horlogerie de Genève, and as you can see, we have all the big brands competing. We have the AP Perpetual Calendar, this is the ultra thin version. We have a Bulgari Sonnery Perpetual Calendar, a heavy hitter as well. The famous Uhrwerk AMC, a great watch. Vacheron Constantin, Ulysse Nardin. So Genus Watch won against all these, let's say, titans of the industry, which again, for its first year of, creating his first model, it's something we can all applaud for. Let me now show you what you all came here to see. We're gonna take a closer look at the watch. I'm gonna explain to you how it works and all the beautiful things around it. Seeing this watch in person takes me back to the beginnings of my, developing my love for watches. I remember when I saw Uhrwerk or MB&F or the Opus watches for the first time, it evoked a lot of emotion in me and interest to, dive deep into this, unknown world. Like I explained to you guys before and you've seen on the channel, I come from the love of independence, so this is, directly in my lane. Sébastien and the team, they created something really special and unique, and actually nobody knew that he was developing this watch. So once he came to the GPHG awards, people were a bit shocked because usually, the insiders, they know who is developing which watch, but with Sébastien, it was a complete shock. So reading the time on this watch is actually easy once you get used to it. It's actually compartmentalized into 3 parts. So on the left part here, you have the hour indication. In the middle part, you have the minutes, which are actually tens of minutes. And at 3 o'clock here, you have the single minutes. And once you turn the crown, the magic starts happening. So let me now show you on an example here what time it actually is. So let me stop the crown, or you can just, push it in. So now you can read it here. It's 9 o'clock, 20 minutes, and on this little ring here, you can see it points to the 5. So now it's 9 o'clock and 25. See, very easy. It's the same as when you write down the time. That's also how you read it here. So let's put it to a different position, just to give you another example. Let's give it a good turn. Now let's stop it. Again, it's now 11 o'clock, 50 minutes and 4. So 11:54. See guys, very easy once you get used to it. The dial actually holds 2 patterns. So one is for the satellites which move around the periphery of the dial. Again, let me show you guys what I mean. You see the hours now when I turn the crown and the time passes, they go around the dial. The goal here was that always when you look at the watch, you can see all the numbers precisely. And no number is, let's say, turned on its head or something like that. If you look now closely, the number 12, once it's gonna pass the, let's say, 11 o'clock mark, it's gonna turn a bit. So you see now, poof. And now just follow the number 12 now here. It's gonna again twist a bit to the other side. Here you go. That's what I meant by all these little satellites which go around the periphery move as well. They also pivot at the 4 o'clock and the 8 o'clock position. The middle part, which shows you the tens of minutes, is something which I really love the most about this watch. It actually features what they call genera, and the first one, which shows you which 10 of minute it is, which is actually in white, is called the genus. So genus means a foundation of something new, like a new family. So you know a bit where the name comes from. What you can also do is you can choose how many of these little components you want to have on the dial. There's also watches which feature only 1 or only 2. Again, as a client, you can all choose. The second pattern I spoke about is based on this middle part, with all these singular components following each other. At 3 o'clock you have the single minute indication, which are actually a bit skeletonized. What's also cool about this dial is that all the small components are actually made in superluminova. I'm gonna take my UV light so you guys can see it immediately, and you see everything lights up. So the numbers and the indications of time have a different lume on them, and the little genera, which show you the tens of minutes, have a separate lume. Although this watch looks very futuristic, Sébastien at his heart is still a fan of, old school watchmaking, The focus of this watch was also very heavily put on the finishing of all the singular components. On the dial side, you have beautiful anglage. You have also micro bead blasting as a finish to contrast the anglage and all the different components. And also, once you turn the watch around a bit, you can see how 3D it actually is. It's a beautiful, construction, and also what I really like about this watch is that it has practically no bezel. Having no bezel, shows you a bit more of the dial, and just nothing obstructs the focus of this model. All the blue parts you can see on the dial are actually PVD coated, and it's something I really like. As you guys might know so far, blue is my favorite color, so this is definitely a model, tailored to my taste. You might think the front side is spectacular, but just wait till you see the back side. The case pack is inspired by, old pocket watches. The construction, the big balance wheel, and also the finishing is just exceptionally well made. The bridges and the main plate of this model are actually made out of solid rose gold. But what Genus did here is actually he plated them, in 2 different styles. So the bridges are plated in rhodium, and the main plate and also the parts which hold up the balance wheel are plated in ruthenium. With all the inscriptions on the bridges here, actually what happens is when they engrave it, the rose gold, which is again the base material of the components, actually comes through. You can see the love for watchmaking on the finishing of this movement. You see Sébastien, does a lot of hand polishing and all different styles of, finissage here. You can see all the angles are beautifully polished. All the screw heads are, mirror polished or black polished. The crown wheel here has a little clover-like cutout and is also beautifully, black polished. Whereas the wheel, which covers the mainspring barrel, is actually finished in this beautiful soleage or sunburst decoration, and also features a black polished clover on top of it. The finishing Sébastien used on the main bridges is actually something he developed in-house because he wanted to get a really fine surface. So what he did is something similar on the dial side, which is he created this gorgeous micro bead blasting finish. The balance wheel is very big, it's reminiscent of the old pocket watches, which I really like, because I like to see a nice balance wheel there. And also this watch features a 50-hour power reserve, which is plenty for a hand-wound watch. One of the highlights of this model in my hands is the case. It's beautiful. It's actually, you know, Damascene titanium. So for those who don't know Damascus steel, this is a similar process. Just that Genus actually used titanium in this case. It makes the watch way lighter, and also it enables it to get this beautiful color. How they achieve this is with a blowtorch. So Sébastien separates the case and the crown and also the buckle, and then uses this blowtorch to achieve this blue color. And then when he achieves the hue or the color he wants, he stops. What's nice to observe is that the example for the lugs, and also on the side of the case, and also some components on the periphery of the dial have like a different hue. So sometimes it looks a bit purplish or blue or almost like a red color. And because of that, each piece is unique. We are very fortunate to have not one but two Genus watches here in the show today. I have the rose gold version as well, which again is just beautiful to look at. If you go on their website, you can also see a few different variations. But I mean, listen, having two on the show is probably something that will never happen again. So I'm really happy that I can show you guys. When you see from the back, the rose gold version has a beautiful rose gold movement. What you also notice on the side that we have a few different component cases here. What's in those are actually separate parts where you can see how the finishing process is made. So you can see a unfinished component and a finished component. With that, you really see how much time it takes and love, you know, to create all these beautiful timepieces. Let me now put the watch on the wrist and show you guys how it looks. The buckle as well as the pin are actually also made in Damascene titanium and beautifully blued. You see the strap is also very well chosen for this model. I love the blue hue, and also it's actually very comfortable. It's not too thick or nor too thin. From the side you can see the height of the watch. It's 13.3 millimeters. It slides under the cuff very easily due to also the beautifully shaped boxed sapphire crystal. Once I turn the wrists around, you can also see the beautiful shape of the lugs. They're actually turned downwards, you know, to increase the comfort of the wearability. The case size is 43 millimeters and my wrist is 18.1 centimeter. You can see the crown is also beautifully made in this Damascene titanium and nicely blued. Another neat detail about the crown is that you can actually see the Genus name around it. It's like in a relief form. The relief letters actually make it easier to grip and to wind. The case is waterproof to 30 meters, which protects the movement of this beautiful watch. For this being a time-only watch, it has a lot of components. To be exact, 418 of them, which is more than some of, high horology, chronographs and complicated watches. The price of the Damascene titanium model is 145,000 Swiss francs, and the rose gold version you saw as well costs 3,000 more, so it's 148,000 Swiss francs. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below about this watch. And also, would you choose the Damascene titanium version or maybe the rose gold version we showed you? Like this video and also subscribe if you want to see more watches like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.